Hey hippies, welcome back. It's Courtney Shavante here if you are new, and today I'm super excited to do a tutorial using one of my Courtney Shavante silicone molds, and this one's going to be for a pinup Afro girl looking in her mirror. I'm super excited to get started with this one. Before we do, make sure you hit that subscribe button and also hit the notification bell so you don't miss anything I put out for you hippies moving forward. So this mold is really tiny, and we're going to start with covering the base of the mold with a little bit of resin. You just want to make sure it's a nice clear even layer, and if you need to get in there with the heat gun to further release those bubbles. Next, I'm coming in with my glitter mix, and this is the Eve Jean glitter mix that is available on craftingwithcs.com along with this beautiful mold, and we're just going to mix this glitter right on in here, and I poured it directly into the molds with the resin, and I'm mixing it around using a little toothpick, being sure not to scrape at the molds because I don't want to damage my little piece and everything. But I am making sure to kind of submerge the glitter and making sure that no air bubbles get trapped, and then we're just going to allow this some time to cure. Alright, so next I have this plain black resin that I have mixed up. I use this black mica powder along with some black alcohol ink to mix that up, and it's like leftover from a different project, and it's maybe like 5 milliliters in here, but I didn't even use the whole thing. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to pour this in there to fill it. I start by pouring in a little bit and moving that around to kind of make sure there aren't any gaps, and then I pour the rest in to go ahead and fill that on up. And once I have enough in there, you're just going to allow that to cure. Time for the fun part that everyone loves. We're going to go ahead and demold this piece. So you want to start by wiggling the mold. You always bend the mold, never the resin piece, and then this will pop out really nice and easily for you because that is how my molds are made, baby. Okay, all right, this is how it's looking, and we're going to just go ahead and paint these etchings here using some white acrylic paint. So I'm just using a regular paintbrush. I'm pouring this paint directly into the etchings, making sure to push it in using that paintbrush as well and not leaving any gaps behind, because I do want to make sure that we have a nice clear line where these etchings are and everything, so that way when we wipe off the excess, it's perfect. It's how we need it, you know. Don't mind the little excess that gets on the smooth surfaces. That does wipe off very easily, and you're going to see me do that in the very next step once we allow this paint to dry completely. Paint should be nice and dry for you now. It only takes maybe an hour or two, and I'm just going to use a damp rag, one that's not super wet. You just want it moist enough to kind of wipe away the excess paint, but you don't want it wet enough to where it kind of leaves a trail of moisture behind. That's how you know that your rag is too damp and you need to wring it out just a tad bit more. And I'm really focusing in on these smooth sides, making sure I don't pick up the paint out of the etching, since this particular piece does have a rather large etched side in her afro. But just clean that up really well, so that way we can go ahead and put that protective layer of liquid latex on in preparation for our doming layer. And I'm going to show you guys exactly how we do that. This is the liquid latex, and I zoomed this in for you so you can see what I have going on here. I was actually working on 2 pieces at the time, so I'm going to be adding a liquid latex layer to both of these. But essentially what I do is I just pour a little bit of the liquid latex directly onto my resin piece, and since this stuff is non-toxic and completely safe, you're able to use your finger to kind of manipulate it. And I'm just making sure that I have it all across this back surface, so that way when we do our doming layer, there aren't any drippings or anything like that we can't get off, and we can ensure that the back side of this stays completely smooth. So just make sure you have a nice even layer over the whole back piece. The entire back piece needs to be covered. That's extremely important. Alright, and then once you have the back piece completely covered, you're going to allow this liquid latex some time to dry. It does take a little bit. The liquid latex has dried, so I went ahead and turned it over and mixed up a little bit of resin, and I'm just going to seal this using a little layer of the liquid I'm sorry, this is not liquid latex. I'm just using the resin to kind of cover the etchings and making sure that they are completely sealed, so that way if this keychain was to get wet, it doesn't matter because the acrylic paint on here won't be affected or anything like that, especially with this being sealed in. So you want to make sure they go all around the sides and everything, and you can do this worry free because we do have that liquid latex layer on the back, which is going to catch and protect the back part of our resin piece. And then you know the drill, let this cure. That doming layer has completely cured first, so now we're just going to peel off this liquid latex layer because we don't need it anymore. So as you can see, it does peel up very nicely. I'm just pulling this off at the edges, making sure I have all the little bits off. And as you can see, that little drippage piece that was on the back that had overflowed from the doming layer came off super easily. I'm just checking along the sides here to make sure that I have any excess little liquid latex pulled off. So once I have confirmed this pulled off, I'm just going to take my magnet here. I'm cutting it to size so that way I can make sure that I have the pieces that I need here. And I'm going to put one on her afro and one on her chair. And I put the larger part on the afro because that's the bigger side. And I'm just pulling up that adhesive layer, that protective layer, and sticking the adhesive and pressing it down. Ta-da! This right here is our finished piece, hippies, and she is absolutely gorgeous. I love how this Eve Jean glitter mix looks along with this white with that black backing. Like, the black really helps the glitter mix to pop. I love how crisp these lines are, and you guys know I just love how unbothered sis is on here. This is how the side looks so that you guys can see the layers and everything. Got our little magnets there on the back, and it's just perfect to put onto a fridge or onto your desk at work, just as like a little cute friendly reminder, or even a locker at school if you have one of those. But we're going to turn her back to the front here. Like, she is so gorgeous, and I hope you guys love this design as much as I do. I'm definitely going to be releasing more of these little pinup designs, so definitely stay tuned and look out for those. Make sure you leave any questions or comments down for me below. I love hearing from you hippies, and I appreciate your support so much. So until next time, hippies, mwah, XO.